The Second Indo-Pakistani War, 1965. A detailed overview. The Second Indo-Pakistani War, also known as the 1965 Kashmir War, was a major armed conflict between India and Pakistan that erupted over the disputed region of Jammu and Kashmir. It marked the second large-scale military confrontation between the two nations since their independence in 1947. Historical background. After the First War in 1947 to 1948, the issue of Kashmir remained unresolved. The territory was divided by the Line of Control, LOC, but both India and Pakistan continued to claim the region in full. Tensions remained high throughout the 1950s and early 1960s. In early 1965, skirmishes erupted in the Rann of Kutch, a disputed border area in Gujarat. Although a ceasefire was reached in that region, the conflict heightened tensions and prepared the ground for a much larger war later that year. The start of the war, Pakistan launched Operation Gibraltar in August 1965, a covert mission to infiltrate Indian-administered Kashmir with trained fighters and incite a local rebellion against Indian rule. However, the operation failed, as the local population did not rise up as expected, and Indian forces quickly responded by launching a counteroffensive. India retaliated by crossing the ceasefire line and capturing several key posts in Kashmir. The conflict soon escalated into a full-scale war involving land, air, and armored forces on both sides. Major battles and war events. The war centered around Jammu and Kashmir, but also extended to the Punjab region, especially near Lahore and Sialkot. Some of the largest tank battles since World War II were fought in this war, particularly the Battle of Asal Uttar near Kem Karan, where Indian forces managed to halt a major Pakistani tank offensive. Air warfare played a significant role. Both countries conducted bombing raids and air-to-air combat, although India was able to gain air superiority by damaging Pakistan's airfields and infrastructure. The Indian Army also made advances towards Lahore, bringing the war to Pakistan's doorstep, which further pressured both sides to seek a ceasefire. International intervention and ceasefire. As the conflict intensified, global powers such as the United States, the Soviet Union, and the United Nations intervened diplomatically. The fear of a prolonged war and regional instability pushed for a negotiated settlement. Under international pressure, both India and Pakistan agreed to a ceasefire, which was brokered by the UN and came into effect on September 23, 1965. This was followed by the Tashkent Agreement, signed on January 10, 1966, with mediation from the Soviet Union. Both sides agreed to withdraw to pre-war positions and restore normal diplomatic relations, although tensions remained unresolved. Outcomes of the war. Military stalemate. Neither side achieved a decisive military victory. While India captured more territory, both nations largely returned to their original positions after the ceasefire. Human and economic losses. Thousands of soldiers died or were wounded on both sides. Civilians were also affected, and infrastructure in conflict areas suffered extensive damage. The war strained both nations' economies. International perception. The war brought international attention to the Kashmir issue, but the underlying conflict remained unresolved. Failure to solve the Kashmir dispute. Despite the ceasefire and agreements, the core issue, the status of Jammu and Kashmir, remained disputed and continued to fuel future conflicts. Tashkent Agreement fallout. Although the agreement helped end hostilities, it was unpopular in both countries. In Pakistan, many saw it as a failure of leadership, which later contributed to political instability and the eventual fall of President Ayub Khan. Summary. The Second Indo-Pakistani War of 1965 was a high-intensity conflict that resulted in thousands of casualties and significant military engagement. Although it ended with a ceasefire and diplomatic efforts, it failed to resolve the Kashmir issue, which continued to be a central source of hostility between the two nations. The war demonstrated the dangers of unresolved territorial disputes and highlighted the role of international diplomacy in containing regional conflicts. However, the absence of a long-term political solution meant that India and Pakistan would once again face off in future wars over the same contentious issue. If you watched the video till the end, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.